Bill Gates and I believe Warren Buffett were at an event, and I believe they were asked, or at least I know Bill Gates was involved, and it was in the book by Warren Buffett. So anyway, they asked some of these, founders of these really successful companies, what is the most important thing to for success or whatever, and the answer was focus. Now, I also came across in some book somewhere, I came across this idea that some of the most successful people, or maybe it was a video, but I came across this idea that some of the most successful people are the ones who they enjoy their work in such a way that in their downtime, in their off time, they actually like to learn about it. And they like to, do, in other words, so for the time that most people spend on social media or watching TV, they're actually getting better because they're learning and digging into their craft. And it makes sense that for someone who loves what they do so much that they can spend their downtime getting better, like it's easy to see that's a tremendous advantage in your how fast you can progress in your learning and therefore in your skill and your iteration and your focus and all that stuff. So I think there's a case to be made too. Well, hey, balance and don't spend all your working hours working, and there may be that for some of us who, like, if you don't love your work that much, you're probably better off not spending every waking minute on it, right? You're probably better off because like for some people, if they spend every waking minute on their work, they're going to end up hating it. Whereas if they take a nice amount of time off, they're not spending every waking minute on it, and then they can actually enjoy it. So there's no one size fits all here, but I do find it kind of fascinating. And I don't know that I can say that I love my work so much that I like to spend every waking minute on it. That's not true for me at this stage where I'm at right now with what I'm doing. There probably have been moments where it's been closer to that, probably. But yeah, so it's interesting, you think about people who love people who basically dedicate their entire life to one thing. It makes sense they can be really successful at it, but it's one of those things where it comes at a cost, if you will. And so if it's in their case, perhaps a cost they're willing to pay, but you may not. So that's a choice that you have to make. Is a sacrifice worth it? And I think for people who want to live a balanced life, if you will, of, they want to have good family relationships, they want to have friendships, they want to have refreshing and rejuvenating time outside of work and blah, blah, blah. Like, these things are all potentially doable. And I think it's possible to have a good life with all of, like, lots of good relationships and lots of good work and all of that. But at the end of the day, I think there's still an element of compromise, if you will, which is I'm not going to be maybe like the best ever or grow my company the fastest ever if I also have a hobby outside of work or if I spend time with my family. So this is not this I think at some points in my life I would have felt like, well, at some points in my life I felt like there was too much for one person to do, especially as like a dad. There's too much to do, and it wasn't really fair that you need to like try to make a living, and then you need to try to like take care of your family from a relational standpoint, and there's just too much in my opinion. Now, well, my work situation has changed some, so that's part of it. But I don't know that I feel it can be challenging. I don't know that I feel bitter about it though at this point. I don't feel like that's probably because my life does have a fair bit of moderation to it. I'd say if my life lacks a category It's probably has to do in the area of like, I don't do a lot outside of my family, hobbies, and work. So church we do some. And I do spend some significant time on that because if we go to church twice, or if we go to church twice a week or so, and we have an hour's drive both ways, so it's not insubstantial. But do I spend a lot of time volunteering, doing service work, helping other people in need? Um, that's not something I'm doing a lot of right now, and I don't love that. I think I idealize doing more of that. Um, I will say though that the work that I do, while I maybe don't think about it every day, when I do stop and think about it, I do view it as helping people. Like it is helping. My goal in marketing is to help families thrive and businesses thrive. But most of the people that I help are fairly small businesses, and so it has a direct impact generally on their families thriving. And so for me, that is like part of in the season I'm in, probably my biggest contribution outside of my family is to other families in helping their businesses to thrive. And sometimes I'm quite successful at that, and other times not as much. But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right?